Hi, I'm Timothy Guy.
And I'm Kim Pierceall.
And we are here to talk about Argo, which in fact has an inland connection.
It does. It's kind of interesting how it blurred our beats, movies, Ontario Airport.
We hardly ever get to talk, so this is nice and exciting. So in case you didn't know, Argo is the new film from Ben Affleck. It deals with the Iran hostage situation in the 80s, or 1980, yes, where the CIA and the Canadian government concocted this very weird plan to fake a movie to get Americans out of Iran.
A genius plan now that you think about it, although it was risky at the time. Yeah.
So they created this schlocky sci-fi movie and went to Iran, and you can see right here, save the people. Spoiler alert, obviously. It's a true story. But Kim, they actually filmed a good parts of the movie in Ontario International Airport.
More than I actually expected, because yeah, when they came out here to film a year ago, you had found out about it and said like, hey, heads up, they're filming at Ontario Airport. So I called the location scout and asked her about it. And at that point in time, they weren't giving much away in terms of the plot and what was going to be happening, just the fact that it was going to be portrayed as Tehran Airport in Iran. And that was kind of intriguing because I was like, really, Ontario Airport? How are you going to turn this into Tehran Airport?
Southern California, Iraq.
Right.
In Iran.
Deserts-ish. But as you can see here, this is actually one of the stills from the movie. This is Ontario International Airport. And some folks who have flown out recently will say, it doesn't look like Terminal 2 or Terminal 4 or where I flew out for a Southwest flight to Sacramento. This is actually the old terminal. And so the old terminal closed down in 2008, primarily to make it more of a hub for filming operations. So they can close down the entire facility. It used to be the only terminal that Ontario International Airport had. It was just this one little building. And you can see in the movie, you can't really see it here too well, but there's a lot of mid-century modern facades, and it looks very 1970s, and it's kind of preserved in time.
Now, especially, I was reading for this movie too, they bust in a lot of actual Iranian Americans, and especially those who were actually there during that time, to serve as extras. So you could see people in the background, and they put up posters and made it look really authentic. Like, I couldn't tell that it wasn't Tehran.
Oh no, totally. It was really interesting, and it's interesting that you mentioned too that the actors there were Iranian Americans who may have been there during that situation, because the scenes in the airport are super tense. And so yeah, you completely lose any concept of this being Ontario Airport and being just a set. It really does feel like it's Tehran Airport.
Now, we talked about how you said when it closed they wanted to make it more of a hub for movie making. There's a few other well-known things have filmed there, so...
Oh yeah, a lot. If you happen to catch the Office season finale when the big boss left, it was a pretty momentous occasion for that show. He actually didn't leave from Pennsylvania Airport. He left from Ontario Airport. Also, if you've caught any singular ads, AT&T ads, sorry, since they merged, AT&T ads usually feature a little walking AT&T logo walking through the terminal with his little rolling luggage. And Southwest Airlines films quite a few of their commercials at the airport, which makes sense because they occupy quite a bit of Ontario Airport. Other ones include Parenthood and Grey's Anatomy this year as well as last year. And I'm wondering if the Grey's Anatomy scenes that were filmed at Ontario Airport had to do with the big plot airplane crash. Right, and I think it may have. Also Private Practice and The Event, which was a very short-lived show.
Yes.
So, and like we were talking about before, it's been a location for quite some time. The very short-lived LAX.
On NBC, I think it lasted 2 or 3 episodes.
With Heather Locklear.
Yes, Heather Locklear.
I know.
And Blair Underwood, I believe, and he was also in The Event.
Exactly, the Blair Underwood connection. That was also filmed at Ontario Airport, and kind of funny nowadays when you consider it, because there's this whole tug of war between Ontario and LA, and the fact that it was filmed in Ontario, but it was actually called LAX.
Now, is this airport also attractive to people because it's kind of empty? Like, to film at LAX is probably a nightmare to deal with, security and all these people traveling out of there. But Ontario, you can usually go and kind of walk right in.
Pretty much, yeah. I wouldn't suggest that anyone just walk right in because there's TSA agents.
Well,
right?
Yes. Of course, I'm not suggesting that at all.
When you do go to the airport, though, traffic has dropped significantly, about 37% since 2007. And so since 2007, film companies have looked at it as an advantage. They don't have to do a lot of crowd control because they can go into a terminal that's half empty and shut off portions and make it look like either a very small airport, make it look like a big airport even, just depending on how you zoom in and out. And so that's been a big advantage for them, and especially with the closed terminal. The USO is still there, but they just occupy a little office. This is entirely closed, so they can go in and do whatever they want with that space.
Now, I know there's been a lot of issues with money in that airport. If you've read any of Kim's stories, she's done extensive amount of work there. Does the airport actually get anything out of all these giant Hollywood movies coming in and filming?
Right. What's interesting is that there's been a lot of cost-cutting efforts at Ontario Airport in order to get costs down, to encourage airlines to come in and thus boost traffic since 2007, since, again, traffic has declined steadily there. What they don't do, though, because they are owned by the city of Los Angeles, is they don't charge anything extra, per se, for folks to film there. So other airports will charge $500 here, $1,000 there for a filming permit. Ontario, at least historically, has always charged just the bare minimum. So this is what's going to cover our costs to shut down a terminal or to have staff there to keep an eye on things. So they're really not making any profit.
Is that an avenue to make profit, do you think?
I don't know, and that's a good point, because maybe they bring in crew members and crew members will spend money at the concessions. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it would be making too much ancillary money for them. Maybe for the folks surrounding them. If they have to stay at hotels in Ontario, if they have to go buy supplies in Ontario, it might benefit those folks around the airport. But as far as the airport's concerned, I don't know. And I don't know if anyone's flying necessarily through Ontario just because it was Toronto Airport.
Oh,
and
I
Argo.
am now.
Oh, totally.
Like
yeah.
Ben Affleck was here. I'm totally going to do that.
Nice.
Going to Vegas just for that. So yeah, if you want to know more, you can always check Kim out at pe.com. And you can check me out at iGuide, which is pe.com/iGuide, or my movies blog if you want to know more about Argo, which is blog.pe.com/Tim-Guy.
You're everywhere, Tim.
I'm everywhere. I'm going to be at the airport soon.